Boruto Chapter 34 was the very first time when the Ten-tailed seedling and broken Otsutsuki panels were introduced. While the Ten-tails has now evolved into the biggest bad news for the shinobi world, it seems like the missing Otsutsukis are also on their way of coming back. But why do I think so? Well, to find the answer to this question, let's first gather a few hints to identify who these creatures actually are. Are they Otsutsuki beings like Momoshiki and Isshiki, or have they transcended into godhood like Shibai? There are mainly two hints which indicate these panels belong to Otsutsuki gods. First and foremost, Momoshiki said humanity's history was tampered by multiple Otsutsukis who became gods. This means Shibai wasn't the only Otsutsuki god, and more of them had laid their feet on the planet before. Furthermore, the Otsutsukis whose panels were not damaged have either been sealed, killed, or reduced to a karma. This means none of these things can lead to the wreckage of the Otsutsuki emblems. The only thing that we are left with is ascension to godhood. Maybe once an Otsutsuki leaves his mortal body behind, it also vandalizes the proofs of his mortal existence. We don't even know if the remains of Shibai refer to his whole corpse or multiple pieces of his dead body that are scattered around the universe. Anyway, the possibility for the ascension of these two entities is quite high. This kinda confirms one of them being Shibai and the other one being his mysterious partner who was never mentioned by anyone. Well, that was the first theory about the identity of missing Otsutsukis, and it only gets crazier from this point. My second theory completely contradicts the first one by ruling out the possibility of these Otsutsukis being the ones who are about to come back to the planet very soon. A brand new duo that might be fighting the Shinjus, but their main target won't be them, rather a pseudo member of their clan whose ambitions are not acceptable. I'm talking about Kawaki and how his plans of destroying the Otsutsuki clan could make him play a losing game. But before that, let's understand how the missing panels are related to this scenario. As we have seen in the story, there were almost 8 Otsutsukis including Toneri who landed on Earth. We are not counting Shibai and the gods mentioned by Momoshiki as we don't have enough intel about them. All of these Otsutsukis have been handled by the heroes and there are more to come. So the main reason I think this duo is about to return and take their revenge from Kawaki is because of a Shinjutsu which is possessed by his biggest supporter Ida. I'm talking about Senringan, which was identified as a Shinjutsu by Momoshiki. Now if he refers to it as a divine ability, then it means that it's not something that only Otsutsuki gods can access. There must be some other members of his clan, maybe the kings or rulers, who can use this power to check on every corner of the universe. The reason I believe these missing Otsutsukis had this power is because the Shinjus were able to identify this eye as well. They must have a good memory of their past life when they were a Ten-tails, and they could have witnessed the missing Otsutsukis breaking their panels too. This explains how Shinjus know about the Senringan, but the question still remains, how were they able to catch Ida spying on them? If it was a feat unique to Otsutsukis, then Boruto must have been able to see her too in chapter 80. Well, the answer lies in the claw marks, a tool that was used to create them. While many think it had the DNA of Isshiki, there is a good amount of chance for Amado to create this ability out of Shibai's DNA, simply because all his overpowered cyborgs were also made from his DNA, and since Limitless Code is said to be about Jigen, it really does make sense. This means the god Otsutsuki's can see the Senringan cause they have the quality of being omnipresent, and just cause the Shinjus have such DNA, they can catch on the Senringan spies in the blink of an eye. Now this feat of the Shinjus to catch the spies could be the trigger to Kawaki's losing game. Jura and his gang is on their way of invading the village to devour all their targets. Naruto being under the possession of Kawaki means that he will have to face off the Shinju boss himself, but what if when they come face to face, something weird happens? Jura could see a literal Otsutsuki looking at Kawaki and then he asks him if he can see him. Kawaki gets confused and Jura tells him the lore of the missing Otsutsukis and how they have been keeping an eye on him cause he wants to destroy their clan. He would further learn that it shouldn't have been that big of a problem, but just because Kawaki is technically an Otsutsuki, he has started a rebellion on the clan, which is unacceptable. After this, Jura could unveil his grudges on the Otsutsuki clan too, and how he also wants to take revenge from them. However, if Kawaki wants the Shinju to support him in the Otsutsuki war, he will need to hand over Naruto. But as we all know how Kawaki would act in a situation like this, he will try to fight Jura with all his might, only to realize how weak he really is. Now this puts Kawaki in a really difficult situation. He can't let go of Naruto cause he means the world to him, but his fate has been seized otherwise by the hands of Jura or the Otsutsukis. If a scenario like this actually actually had to happen, then the best thing in my eyes that Kawaki could do is to prove his alliance with Shinju's in some other way. Maybe they would ask him to betray the shinobis, which explains the prologue scene perfectly. All these sacrifices shall be made by Kawaki to become more powerful, cause power is the only thing that could help him to protect Naruto. The anime once showed us the statues of these mysterious Otsutsukis who look like the rulers of the clan. There were two such statues in red and blue color, found at the dimensions of Kaguya that were being investigated by Sasuke. A similar contrast can be seen between Boruto and Kawaki, a conflict of different ideologies. So what if the Otsutsuki clan also has their sects, led by the red and blue rulers following different goals? The blue clan could be a conservative group that doesn't allow their members to become gods, while the red clan could have godhood as their sole purpose. Maybe Isshiki belonged to the blue clan and he betrayed them to become a red one, but was eventually backstabbed by Kaguya. Furthermore, the division could even happen on the basis of the names of the Otsutsuki. Shibai dressed differently and had a different naming scheme than the Shiki group, wearing tattered black robes instead of their white noble attire. This also indicates a different branch of the clan, holding a different ideology. It could even be that attaining godhood is against the rules of the clan and only rebellious Otsutsukis go that far. By this, there's a slight chance that Kawaki's goals in the future have changed as well. Maybe he's also after this godly evolution that will grant him the power of omnipotence. He could use it to manipulate the world in whatever way he likes, and maybe that's why he destroyed Konoha. His main goal must be to undo the destruction as well as the history once he attains godhood. A theory that I think has a high chance of coming true is the presence of multiple Otsutsuki gods. This statement of Momoshiki acts as the basis for this. The only problem is that there should be some obvious conflict between all of them when it comes to running the universe. So how did Shibai, who might be the Otsutsuki god with protagonistic qualities, handle this situation? Well, if you remember the words of Urashiki, an Otsutsuki is not allowed to kill another Otsutsuki. The same rule must apply to the Otsutsuki gods, and coincidentally, Boruto was named as the God Slayer by Kishimoto. So what if his main purpose in the story is to destroy the other Otsutsuki gods besides Shibai? Just because Shibai can't do it himself, he has chosen Boruto for it. And maybe all these hardships in Boruto's life were supposed to make him capable of killing the enemies of Shibai. The final theories of this video are really interesting. It even hints at the new appearance of Shinju after they evolved into Otsutsuki, so hear me out. Back in chapter 38 of the manga, Jigen has a vision where he imagines Boruto and Kawaki with black robes similar to the one worn by Shibai. Maybe the other races who turn into Otsutsukis are expected to wear this black outfit, and by this we can conclude a slight possibility of Shibai evolving into an Otsutsuki due to his black attire. This explains why he doesn't have the Shiki suffix at the end of his name. Maybe he evolved from a human or even the Ten Tails. Not to mention Jura's outfit is a bit identical to Shibai as well, and the goal of the Shinju is to evolve themselves. This evolutionary factor hints at them turning into Otsutsukis before starting their quest for godhood like Shibai. Now this brings us to a theory which could change almost everything about the story. I think the Otsutsukis, humans and Ten Tails are a part of an evolutionary web. The Otsutsukis use the Ten Tails to become gods. The Ten Tails are apparently using humans to become Otsutsukis. Further, the Otsutsuki and their gods can turn a human into Otsutsuki. So if Shibai was a human before becoming a celestial being, then he seems to have laid footsteps for Boruto to follow. Boruto was also born a human, and due to formidable circumstances, he became an Otsutsuki. And after dealing with all the nuisances like the Shinjus, the next big goal in his life must be to become an Otsutsuki god to acquire the omnipotence and fix his world. However, he needs to get rid of Kawaki first, who is competing with him in this race of attaining godhood. Talking about the destroyed tablets, there is also a possibility that whoever built these in the past had already seen the future. He knew that Boruto and Kawaki were about to become Otsutsukis, and these tablets symbolize their existence. However, the tablet builder quickly realized it would create inconsistencies in the timeline, so he destroyed them without a second thought, leaving us with the theories of missing Otsutsukis. Back to these mysterious creatures, what if I told you there are multiple such beings whose remains were acquired by the Kara organization? This missing sign from the Kara wall could be just a decoy hinting at the presence of multiple Otsutsukis. You can find out more about this theory in this video. Also, don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you next time.